Screen is dark, but if you could see me, I'm smiling ear to ear. I got a big smile on my face. Why? We're going to talk about that. This is Staying in the Light Radio, and I got a good report going over the speech of the president. Some of y'all may not know the significance of what's happening, but he's the answer to our prayers. Those of us who've been looking for justice. What he's doing is bringing our families back together. He's bringing our community back together. He's bringing sanity back to us as a people. Okay, what am I talking about? In this law that he's making, that no longer will women be able to claim child support on their income tax and get paid twice. But that's not even half the story. Let me give you some background. Because I lived this experience. I lived this. This is a sham, a horror that's been in our community for over 60 years or longer. Back in the 60s, the first, actually maybe before the 60s. No, it's about 68. This was right in the middle of the civil rights movement. This was a part of the agenda of destroying our families and our communities. This would happen. Take notes and research what I'm going to talk about. They was going to give assistance to the woman with her children because the man couldn't get a job. Once they brought in integration, they wouldn't hire us. And you know why? The reason why they wouldn't hire us because integration was forced on them. They wasn't ready for it. They didn't ask for it. So they said, we're going to fix them. We're not going to hire them. So the men couldn't get jobs if they wasn't a musician, or this was before sports were really integrated. If they wasn't a musician or had their own business, they just became bums. Now they solved that problem a few years later, a generation later, by bringing in drugs for them to sell in their communities. So they told the woman, okay, we're going to help you since your man can't have a job, can't find a job. We're going to help you with your children, but he can't be in the house. He cannot live with you. You see that? And she needed the money to help to, instead of her saying, well, no, we're going to work it out together. You're not going to separate my family. You're not going to do it. She didn't do that. She said, oh, sure. I kick him out. Well, she may not have said that, but that's what happened. For her to get the money, he couldn't live in a house. So he just keep coming by there, making more babies. And so after a while, the government said, well, we want you to start getting money from him. We're not going to pay you anymore. You got to get the man who you got babies from to start giving you money. This is what they did. This is where child support came in, 80s and 90s. And so he he paid his child support, when he could, paid his child support, did what he could do. And the women say, okay, well, that's working. So they would just they have babies. Babies were their source of income. Sometimes that's where you got this baby mamas and baby daddies from. Because before we had strong communities, to have a child from another, to have a child from another woman or another father, that was unheard of in our communities. That was unheard of. It was a disgrace for a woman not to even be married. So with this government free money, what these people keep talking about, they actually destroyed the family. First, it made the one man leave the home because he couldn't provide. The government provided to the woman. And then when the government stopped providing, all this happened under different presidents. I'll talk about that another time, but it doesn't matter who did it, what president did it. The main fact is that it happened. And so the men was going to prison if they couldn't pay the bill for the child support. They was actually in prison then because somebody was getting paid. Because when you go to prison, the state is getting paid. Plus, some of them are forced to give free labor. So this great president is doing the community a great service because he's saying, women, now you got to be responsible. That's been needed for so long. That's been needed for 2 or 3 generations. Making men and women responsible. The men always are forced to be responsible because nobody was giving him anything. So if he wasn't responsible, if he was irresponsible, he wound up in jail. Because the only thing the government gave him was drugs to sell. So they like, we got you either way you go. Only thing we're gonna allow you to do is sell drugs. Then when we catch you, we're gonna send you to prison, and we're gonna get paid again for your labor. So that's what's destroyed our community. That's how we don't have our community. Or very few of us have our communities. And the women walk around naked because she's just advertising she don't have no man in her life. Because if a man not gonna allow his woman to walk around naked. That's just bottom line. A man would not allow that. But since she don't have a man, she thinks she's free to do what she want to do. And they've been doing that it's been getting ridiculous. But all that's changing, women. This is really for the women. Somebody's slapping your hand and saying, no, this is what you're going to have to do. If you don't want to stay with the man you had children with, you got to sit down with him and discuss it with him, how much he can afford to pay. In other words, it's not to your benefit to leave him. It's to your benefit to work with him. The government made it easy for you to leave him. That's under the Democracy and the Republicans. They both did it. So I would say justice is coming to us in the communities because now the women have to talk to the man and say, look, how can you pay me? How much can you pay me? Would it be better we just work together and move into the house and we work together? That's what families do. They work together. But women have been made spoiled with this free money. Even you hear them now hollering about free money. Ain't nothing free. Somebody gonna pay for it. And what was paying for it for the last 3 generations, what our families were paying for that free money you got. Most of the time it went to her. Well, I don't know. I'm not gonna get into that because I'm probably gonna be incorrect on that because I don't know for a fact. So let me not speculate. Let me just stick with the facts. So the president says you're not going to benefit from having children out of wedlock anymore. You're going to have to work, or you're going to have to marry a man who's working. And if you don't expect nothing from the government. Did you hear that? That welfare being cut out, sister, if you didn't get the message. You're going to have to work it out with your man to take care of the children, which you should have done all along. And that's a good thing because it's going to make people stay together. It's going to make stronger families, it's going to make stronger communities. And in a generation and two, we're going to be back where we were close to 60, 70 years ago when we had our own communities. Strong communities, we're going to have our businesses. It's a wonderful thing. It's not going to happen overnight, but in a few years, less than the time it took for us to get in this condition, we're going to be back because the strong families going to bring strong communities. The communities going to work together, going to create businesses. That's what we did before. We have our stores, we have our supermarkets, we're going to have our banks, our schools. It's a wonderful thing. I'm just so happy about it. Once I understood it and read what he's doing. Yes, great, great, great. It's a great day. Okay, well, that's all I had. Nobody's in the chat. Nobody have any questions. So, women, you're going to have to talk to your man now. Well, matter of fact, before you get married, make sure y'all can take care of the children. Don't get married and look for the government to take care of the children. The government didn't have the child, you did. So now, if the man was irresponsible, he's going to have to be responsible now. And more important, the foundation of the home is the woman. This is what men do everything for. They do everything for the woman. So now she has to be responsible because if the man's not working and she have a baby, she can't just say, oh, okay, you got to pay me for the baby. She got to work and take care of the baby by herself. The government's not going to help you. Now, this is not going to happen automatically because some people still receiving payments, child support payments. So what he said is that those who are still receiving the payments that hasn't stopped yet, she's not going to be able to claim that income on her tax return or that income credits. So it's to her benefit, even before the payments stop, to sit down and talk to the father of the children and say, let's work this out. She's never been called to be responsible for. So I'm thanking the Creator for this. It's a wonderful thing happening in our community. Wonderful thing. I'm so happy about it. I'm probably gonna be up all night with all this energy for this wonderful thing he's doing. Peace to the righteous Moors. Yes, a wonderful day. So I want y'all to go and listen to this and listen to the message that he gives, that Trump gives, and see how beautiful it is for us and the people, what he's doing.